The NRA sued me last week.
This story begins back in 2018 in New York. In the months after the horrific Parkland shooting in Florida, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo spoke out against the NRA, and one of his regulators, Maria Vullo, who led the State Department of Financial Services, released guidance urging banks and insurance companies to avoid working with the NRA. That's when the lawsuits from the NRA first began.
We disagree with the NRA. We nonetheless think their rights should be protected.
David Cole is the National Legal Director for the ACLU, not usually a group aligned with the NRA. But on Monday, he'll be arguing in front of the Supreme Court on their behalf. He argues that this is all about the First Amendment.
Government officials can speak out against political groups. What they can't do is deploy the coercive force of their office to impose a blacklist on organizations.
This type of guidance happens every day.
But law professor Drew Stevenson from the South Texas College of Law argues that this regulator did nothing wrong. Stevenson teamed up with other law professors to file a legal brief in support of the state's case, saying the guidance did nothing more than warn companies of possible reputational risk if they work with the NRA.
There was no threat of enforcement. No one was threatened with punishment if they didn't break ties with the NRA. It was just urging companies to review their relationship with the NRA.
This is something the NRA and the ACLU dispute, arguing the guidance had major impacts on the NRA.
If New York can do this to the NRA, then Alabama could do it to Planned Parenthood, and Florida could do it to a trans rights group, and you pick your group.
Meanwhile, Stevenson also fears wide-scale impacts if the justices side with the NRA. He tells us that he worries this would have a chilling effect on regulators nationwide.
The Supreme Court will hear arguments for this case on Monday and are expected to have their ruling by the end of the spring. In Washington, I'm Koslof, Spectrum News.